Raman is not only a sommelier at EcoTrade and Noala restaurant in Almaty, he's the current best sommelier of Kazakhstan for 2024, but also an active voice in shaping wine culture here. Our key three learning objectives for today are explore EcoTrade's import strategy and its focus on premium artisanal wines. Learn about the bottle, EcoTrade's retail and on-premise project, and how it connects consumers to wine culture. And third, understand key consumer trends and identify opportunities for Italian wines in Kazakhstan's market. Okay, so let's dive in. Welcome to Asia Wine Market Almaty Special Edition with me, your host, Roza. In this special series, we're exploring the growing wine culture of Kazakhstan, with Almaty at the heart of it all. Each episode will meet with Italian wine professionals, importers, somms, and producers who are shaping the future of wine in Central Asia. Whether you're a winery looking to expand into new markets or a local expert curious about the market dynamics, you are in the right place. Hello and welcome to Asia Wine Market Almaty Special Edition. Today, I'm excited to welcome Roman Chsherbakov. He's the current best sommelier of Kazakhstan for 2024, a two-time winner of the National Blind Tasting Trophy, and he also holds the ASI diploma. Roman is not only a sommelier at EcoTrade and Noala restaurant in Almaty, but also an active voice in shaping wine culture here. So welcome, Roman. We're very happy to have you here today.
Hello.
Before we dive into our main topics of discussion, can you please briefly walk us through how it all began for you?
I started to work at the Horeca like 15 years ago, so that was a long way for me from the beginning to the current point. The journey into wine started quite naturally through basically the service. I was working in a restaurant, and over time I realized how much depth there is in the wine. Culture, geography, human stories, especially human stories. I started studying, tasting, then tasting more seriously, and eventually competing as a sommelier. Become a passion, then it turned into a profession. As simple as that. So thanks to the growing sommelier community, because it's started to grow massively like 4 years ago, when I start to educate myself with the new profession for myself. So in one training that was, as I remember correctly, Brancott Estate New Zealandish Sauvignon Blanc by Katerina Yakimova, and she like noticed me, then asked me to go to the Sum of Sommelier competition, and I made it to the semi-final before I get even my basic course of sommelier. So that was a fast start, and then I start to educate even harder, and then you see what I've become.
That is actually very impressive. So, actually, your journey in wine, a deep journey in wine, started only 4 years ago.
Yep. I changed restaurant from the restaurant when I work mostly with the beer, but if you're speaking about the sommelier term, first I was working in the beer sommelier in 2014, I guess, in Kostanay. So this is one of the northest region and biggest northern city of the region. And I was working on some of the beer factory, which have their own restaurant, which calls Fesla. Shout out to Fesla. And I worked as a beer sommelier there. Then I went to Almaty and start to work in the Beefeater, which is the one of the biggest wine cellar in the whole country. So this is how I changed my favorite drink.
Okay, so you're originally from Kostanay.
Actually, I'm originally from the Rudny, which is the city in like 40 kilometers near Kostanay. So it's like hour of road, the small city with like 100,000 people of population.
Okay, because I'm from Kostanay region as well. Yeah. I didn't know that fact about you, actually. It is good to know. Okay, so what about EcoTrade? How and when did you start working there?
That was like 3 years ago. I was working in the Vinoli Wine Enthusiast, a wine bar, which still is my favorite place when I was working ever. That was the small bar with only new world style wines. There is like no old world, no Italy at all, no France, and we were trying to push the more expressive and easygoing styles. But we're open a little bit earlier the market wasn't ready, so the bar for now currently closed, which is very sad because it was like place with very beautiful people, but unfortunately it is what it is. So I was looking for some South African wines in my wine card. Antonina, which is for now brand manager of Might and Hennessy. She used to work in the EcoTrade as a brand manager as well. She came to me to decide what kind of South African wines I'm looking for myself, and then she just like hunt me. This is how I became the member and the brand ambassador of the EcoTrade at first.
Okay, got it. All right. I'm very happy to know these facts about you that you're from Kostanay region as well. So let's start our today's main topics. Our key three learning objectives for today are explore EcoTrade's import strategy and its focus on premium artisanal wines. Learn about the bottle, EcoTrade's retail and on-premise project, and how it connects consumers to wine culture. And third, understand key consumer trends and identify opportunities for Italian wines in Kazakhstan's market. Okay, so let's dive in. All right, so let's start with your work at EcoTrade. Could you give us an overview of EcoTrade's structure, which channels and regions you cover, and your main role as a brand ambassador there?
Okay, since the start of my work in EcoTrade, I changed the position. Now I'm currently working as the business development officer, but for myself, it's more like the manager for different questions. So I'm pretty much working with everybody, with everything, and trying to connect different people to work together closely and more productive. About the EcoTrade as a company, we start working in 2010, so pretty much it's 15 years on the market. We're one of the oldest, so it's pretty much the wine importing and distribution company based in Kazakhstan. We work nationwide. Our strongest city is obviously Astana and Almaty, and our clients, including the top restaurants, the boutique, the wine bars, pretty much all premium horeca in the whole Kazakhstan. Because we also a little bit working with the regions, so there is a few places in the Kostanay that you can find our product, the few places in Uсть-Kamenogorsk, and we are looking on Karaganda pretty strongly. This is gonna be the next city for us, I guess. Also, we do have our own the retail network. This is our wine bars that we'll talk about a little bit later. The bottle. Also, we do have a few restaurants for now on. We have the Gogra. This is the Georgian cuisine just in front of Mideo. So this is pretty gorgeous place to visit and with the view. And for now on, we also own the Giardino. This is the Italian cafeteria. And for my humble opinion, this is the best Italian food in the Kazakhstan for now. I'm 100% sure.
All right. You intrigued by saying that's the best Italian food in whole Kazakhstan. You intrigued me a lot. Okay, so let's shift to your portfolio right away. And could you tell us what is the percentage of Italian wines in your portfolio and what Italian wineries do you currently represent? And what does EcoTrade typically look for when choosing new producers to work with?
Pretty much we have like 30 to 35% of the Italian wines. Wineries like Pasqua, which is my favorite in our portfolio. I like every winery is like the child, but this is my favorite one. Also, we do have the Fontanassa, Salvana, these small wineries from the north part of the Italy, from the Piedmont, Zime, the Bright Star, which is very close to Giuseppe Quinterelli, so we are very proud to have him. Fratelli Vagadori. Also, we are working with some guys from not very popular regions in Kazakhstan, such as Marke. We have the Santa Barbara winery and the Hacienda Agraria Gureri. Of course, we have guys from Apulia, which is the Chinyomora, with their like very cool project called Puglia Pop. And I didn't mention Umbria. We have Fattore di Misalte. They're making perfect Montefalco Sagratina. Very good, and also Marema, of course. And what was the second part of the question?
What do you usually look for when you choose new producers to work with?
This is kind of local joke about EcoTrade company that we are looking for the very paintful labels, because we have a lot of labels with the paintings and stuff like this. But first of all, of course, this is gonna be the native varieties, organic farming, strong regional identity, and if the winery has a story, some of the USP, this is also would be great. And then of course, this is gonna be the price quality range. Without it, it's impossible to import something. For us, important that the wines tell a story. We avoid mass market brands and look for people who care deeply about what they're doing. It shows in the bottle and it resonates with our client.
Okay, got it. So you're not into like very commercial, big commercial wineries. Well, you have some big commercial wineries for sure, but still, you're also giving the chance to smaller producers if their stories resonate with you.
We are focusing on the small producers, but if we're speaking about our biggest and commercial Italian producer, which is the Familia Pasqua, they have site, but the main project, but it's like the site in for them for us, like the project for the soul, the Mai Dire Mai. So this is the Valpolicella Classica Superiore, which got the 97 by Robert Parker. So I'm not quite sure that the classical commercial wineries could make something like this, but they can. So they are not just the commercial winery; they're above that.
And again, they have beautiful labels.
Yes, yes.
Okay, nice. Thank you for sharing that. My next question would be in general, this is a general question. Which styles or regions from Italy are performing particularly well in Kazakhstan right now, in your opinion? And are there any Italian wine categories, styles, or regions, or maybe grape varieties you believe could have even greater potential to become successful here? Maybe they're still not well represented or underrepresented in our market, but if given the chance, they could become successful here.
Starts from beginning. The top performers, obviously, this is gonna be Prosecco and Pinot Grigio. It's like crushing. Everybody's drinking it. In every wine cart, you can find like 5, 6, 7 producers of Prosecco. For now on, I'm helping one of my friend to make the wine cart for her place, and there is 4 different Prosecco. All of them are like gorgeous, very well known, but still it's 4 Prosecco in the wine cart. Beside that, the Cremant and stuff like this, but the 4 Prosecco, because the community of wine drinkers in Kazakhstan, they are like everybody loves something different, and in case of Prosecco, even if this style is quite similar, they're pretty loyal to the brand that they opened once, so we had to be like wider in our wine list. And the Pinot Grigio, this is actually one of the most convenient wines for wine specialists to give to someone who doesn't drink or didn't drink wine before, because it's easygoing, it's with the medium acidity, with a pretty understandable aromas. So if person try to understand the wine, like what kind of drink is this, because in Kazakhstan different categories of drinks are usually using in the like everyday basis. So the Pinot Grigio one of the most convenient wine to start with. So that's why it's very popular. Because the second thing that we should know about the wine lovers in Kazakhstan, they're very conservative. So if they love something, it's very hard to give them different styles. So that's why the Pinot Grigio is going to be a thing in Kazakhstan like for a lot of time, like 5 years or something. I also see a lot of potential in the north part, because there is lots of different native grape varieties. I'm looking on the Ramata style, which is gonna be a thing, because it's like the orange wine, the skin contact, but it's very gentle, and this is gonna be like the Pinot Grigio, which is actually Pinot Grigio as well, which is gonna be the Pinot Grigio for the orange wines. The sommelier usually want to work with the wines that from the gastronomic point of view very wide, so and introduce orange to the people is very important. And for me, Ramata is the one of the best styles that we can find. Also, I will tell you anything new, but Etna is growing very well, and the vines from them are fantastic. For now on, this is my favorite region. Like 2 days ago, I was opening the whole set of Etna for the guests, because they like, we heard that the Etna is growing, let's try it. And I was like, yes, today is the best day to drink Etna, because in a few years later, this is gonna cost you twice. So, and we drink like 5 bottles. They're pretty happy. They even tried the Muscat di Pantelleria, which is extremely rare in the Kazakhstan, but I do have it in my restaurant. And also, I would mention my favorite Lambrusca in the dry version, because in Kazakhstan, the reputation of this wine is absolutely awful. It's crushed by the semi-sweet, semi-dry sweet, and basically with the very bad quality of the wine. But for now on, we're trying to start the revolution. But it's still like the one or two labels in the whole market that are like drinkable. They're great, but it's still like only one or two. So this is gonna be a thing because of the light aromas, huge acidity, and for me, this is one of the best aperitif for now on.
Yeah, that's true. And also, it's a good way to move a little bit from Prosecco to Lambrusco.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think actually it's not only in our country that Lambrusco's reputation was destroyed many years ago. I think it's the same story in other countries too, other markets. But now they're doing really great. The region does a lot of promotions. They work on it. They work on restoring the reputation and helping out the producers who make the quality wines there. And could you please tell me about EcoTrade? What are you going to look for later this year or the upcoming years? What kind of styles would you like to bring? You already mentioned orange wine. What other styles you would like to bring?
For now on, we are working on a contract with some of the Super Tuscanies, but I will not tell you what kind of producer it is. But we are working on the Super Tuscany because it's basically the liquid money. In Kazakhstan, the Super Tuscany is one of the most popular style in the category of people from like 35 to 45. So, which is basically the most like rich people from the wine lovers. So if person knows what he wants, it's probably is gonna be the Super Tuscany or the Bordeaux or rare, but still it's gonna be the Burgundy. But Super Tuscany is a big thing. So also I think we and the market ready for the Franciacorta because for now in Kazakhstan there is none of Franciacorta. Not even a single bottle.
I'm going to interrupt you. That is so true. Like, I think a couple of years ago, I tried to find Franciacorta at wine bars in Astana, and I couldn't. I only found one bottle, and it was super expensive. So I never drank it here.
It's actually you try to find it in Astana. In Astana, find the good wine is a little bit more tricky because I don't know, like 60% of the wine drinkers of the country is currently in Almaty. Astana is growing very well, but a few years ago, trying to find Franciacorta in Astana is like almost impossible. But you did well, you found one. And we found the good producer of the Franciacorta. This is gonna be huge thing, I guess, because from the last time that Franciacorta was on the market actually pretty obviously changed, and now we have some people who could at least try from curiosity, even if it's gonna cost like the bottle of champagne. I was working as a waiter when Franciacorta came to the market, and when I tried to sell a bottle, just to be honest, to try by myself as a sample, and then serve to guests. I didn't answer the question why it cost more than the bottle of champagne. Why should I buy this? And I'm still looking for this kind of answer. But for now, as I know our producer, the price is gonna be pretty decent, so we won't compete with the like big houses of champagne. Then we start to promote Franciacorta as a style, and then we bring satin and styles like the more elegant, more expensive.
I think that's a good start. So I hope Franciacorta producers will listen to our conversation and it will give them a kind of a splash of enthusiastic, optimistic view in the future. Okay, thank you for sharing that. And you also mentioned Super Tuscans. You said that Super Tuscan wines are pretty popular among consumers, but is it difficult for you to introduce some lesser known names from this category? Or like, do consumers still look for big names, popular names, or they're also open to try some new producers from the same category?
Okay, so I'll tell you two different point of view. One of from the sommelier on the floor as I work in, and the second one as a EcoTrade brand ambassador. So difference is if I'm working on the floor, I'm just going to the table. If person asks for some super Tuscany, and I was like, this is like Sassicaia but twice cheaper, and like I'm not even explaining anything because people usually are like looking for Sassicaia because I'm quite sure this is the most popular bottle in Kazakhstan in this category. And when they hear that this is like Sassicaia but cheaper, deal is done. And in case if I represent the EcoTrade, any of our super Tuscany, now current or future, will be questionable because we have the huge standards on the market, because we have all the Salayas, Sasikayas, Tinyanellas, and the people love them, people recognize them. And to be a part of this niche is very hard, but it's more like very personal work in this kind of style. So you have to even go with the private service with the people who consume this kind of wines, because this is like not everyday consuming wines. So from time to time you just go into private service to the people, to your most valuable auditory. So you go to introduce the wine for themselves, and it works well.
With lesser known producers, you have to do much more effort to convince your distributors, for example, or the wine places you work with, to prove to them that it's worth to order those wines.
Yes, yes. There is also a question: why do I need them if I have Sassikai? Like Sassikai is a huge marker on the market.
Okay, I got it. And Nuala restaurant also belongs to EcoTrade, or it's a
Now
separate? Okay.
it belongs to Solo Group, which also have the beef eaters, and also, if you know, I'm pretty sure you know the Chechel pubs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like I usually represent the Solo Group, we have the beefeater on the Dostik Street, which is the eldest son. So he's like left the family, he's working, he's by himself. We have the beefeater on Drum Store, middle son, which is actually underloved a little bit, so everybody always forget about him. He is by his own. And we have the youngest and favorite daughter, which is Noala. So everybody loves Noala. Noala is one of the popular restaurant in the country. On the last Where to Eat. Do you know what's Where to Eat?
Where to eat? Yeah.
Just to be clear, Where to Eat. It's like the Oscar in Horeca segment for now. So and we got like top four in the 2024. I also took the best sommelier of the year. So for us, it was like the very good day.
I think you also helped the restaurant to get that trophy because you became the best sommelier last year.
Yes, I was quite hyped for a few months after the competition and even before, because we got the Wine Enthusiast Award of our wine card. We have some London Star Wine list. We also got this, also got a few different wine card awards. So we were hyped for a whole summer. Then personally, I myself was hyping the whole autumn. In the end of the autumn, that was the Where to Eat. So we were quite successful there.
I didn't know that Nuala restaurant had so many awards. That is good to know. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, now when we've explored the import side and also Nuala restaurant a little bit, let's look at how EcoTrade connects directly with consumers through retail and hospitality. So EcoTrade, as you already mentioned, owns a chain called The Bottle. Could you tell us more about it? When it was opened, how many stores you've got, and what kind of wine selection you've got there?
Devoto is our retail and hospitality project, a chain of wine stores and wine bars that we started, if I remember it correctly, in 2020. But our main bottle, not just wine boutique or wine store, this is the small restaurant, which have all of our portfolio and even more, because you can find something like very rare and specific that we are not distributing anymore, but we still have it in the bottle. The bottles are not just a place to buy wine, it's where we, as you said, connect directly with customers and consumers, offer tasting and take feedback. So this is usually one of our ways to understand what market wants for now. It's very important to be in touch with the final customer. For example, this is how we managed that we need the Riesling, because a few guys from our bottles, they said, could we bring the Riesling, because people wanted so bad. So now we are looking for a Riesling, but still looking. We also give advices, bring the stories behind the bottle. This also helps a lot with the marketing side, because every of our workers, they know the portfolio very well. I personally taken care of it. Actually, every Wednesday, I go to one of our bottles and we are training with the guys. So they're pretty competitive on every competition of sommelier. So we will see how many guys from the bottle we will see in the semifinal this year. This is like small spoiler on the next competition.
Okay, I'm looking forward to that actually. Coming back to consumers, I visited the bottle, two of them, because one of them is just very, very close to my house. The one where you got the restaurant. I guess it's the main one, as you said. And for me, they look like very modern. And also, for me, the chain, the bottle, looks like the place that is more open for some younger consumers. So, just in case if I'm wrong, what types of consumers are frequent visitors there and what is their average age?
Since bottle wine bar opened, the age dropped a little bit because David is the guy who is responsible for the wine bar. He made huge work with the revolution of natural wines, and this is the wine for the young people, especially if they love the loud music. So they made the concept around natural wine, biodynamic and organic. And I'm very happy that we have the wine to put in his idea. So in his place, I guess it's roughly like 21 till 32 or something like this, like the youngest that could drink legally in the Kazakhstan. Also, I didn't mention, like 2 days ago, we opened one more bottle. That's why I was about to explain the difference, because every bottle from now on, they have less in common that they're supposed to. Because, for example, the main bottle, so it's like a niche restaurant. It's very secluded, so you can sit, you can go for a day there. This is a little bit dark, so the atmosphere is very romantic. But from the other side, we have bottle wine bar, which is very loud with like 20, 30 people singing Meladze in the whole loud. And third point, we have Classic Enertech in the Forum, which is one of the biggest trade malls in Almaty. And we have the guys who just like working in front of the one of the biggest supermarkets in the Kazakhstan, also the Galmart. And like this is absolutely classic. For now on, we are opening the bottle, just opened in the Ram store, and this is gonna be in our minds. It's something like the bottle outlet. So we will put lots of discount and just try to introduce wines for the people who doesn't like to pay a lot. So this is going to be a lot of wines with lower prices. And we will see, is it going to be successful or not. We're not afraid to make these strange steps forward.
That is very good to hear. And especially because people in our country, when it comes to choosing wine, they're very price sensitive.
Yes, yes.
To be honest, wines in our country, they cost a lot.
And I didn't answer question at all. So I was talking about every round, but didn't mention the answer. So our guests, except the wine bar, are mostly between 25 and 40. They are curious, educated, and open to trying new things. And the bottle becomes a trusted space. We keep things approachable, never intimidating. It's about building confidence and sharing joy, not lecturing anyone about the wine.
Okay, thank you for sharing all those insights on the consumers. Continuing that conversation based on your experience, both with the bottle chain and also as a sommelier on the floor at Noala restaurant, how do you think what factors seem to influence consumer choices when it comes to Italian wines? Is it the grape? Is it the style? Is it the price? Is it the story? What hits most?
First of all, of course, is the price. Then it's grape variety, because people in Kazakhstan, as I mentioned before, are very conservative. If like 5 years ago they tried Sangiovese and they liked it, they will ask for Sangiovese. And they don't care that Sangiovese could be like in every possible style the wine is made, but they just want Sangiovese. So this two very important. For me as a sommelier on the floor, one of the things that I can use to help customer make a choice is the good story behind. It could be, of course, the beautiful bottle or the label on it. But if we are speaking about, I don't know, Sangue de Giuda as the name of the wine, I always can tell the story about why this wine calls like this, and usually it sells. And also, important thing that I didn't mention, residual sugar. North part, lots of the cold days, and a lot of the people still likes the not dry wines. That's why the Apulia as a region is one of the most popular in Kazakhstan. And as I see, the Abruzzo is making a lot of right moves. Step by step, they becoming an next big thing in the Italian wine in the Kazakhstan market.
And it's true. And I think wines with some residual sugar, with higher levels of residual sugar, that they're popular. We already talked to Zulfia. We already talked to Ratmir. I already talked to Svetlana from Uzbekistan. And yeah, I think all of them already mentioned that. It's very important. And all of them mentioned Prosecco, Pinot Grigio, Primitivo. It's a true story, honestly.
How many of them was mentioning dry Lambrusco?
Zula, Zulfia.
Okay.
Okay, and again, coming back to, you already mentioned that at one of the wine bars, the bottle wine bars, David, who works there, he actually tries to promote the organic wines, biodynamic wines to the consumers. Could you please tell me, do you see any growing interest in these trends in our country? Like, do you think it's becoming a thing in our country, or it's still something that is, it's a global trend that didn't come to our country yet?
It's still a niche. Nolo wines are growing. In case of the growing religion in Kazakhstan, people start to go with the non-alcoholic wines more often. But for me, this trend is going to be here in Kazakhstan, like maybe in 3 or 4 years, because we still educate people. For now, it's very hard to relearn people from the semi-dry to dry wines. Then, if we succeed with that, we start to give them the understanding of terroir and the difference between them, between the regions, between the key regions. As you hear, this is like at least 24 bottles. And then, when they have like the base of their own opinion, then we can speak about some revolution or natural wines, because not even every sommelier in Kazakhstan still understand what is natural wine and how it's produced and why and for what. So this is not just a wine, this is a philosophy behind it. So before you start drinking it, you have to be interested in it. And for that, you need to be a little bit educated. And now we're on the stage when we are still educating our customers if they're interested in that, of course.
Okay, yeah, and I agree with you. But among these friends, maybe not organic and natural, but Nolo wines. I think some of the producers of this kind of styles, if they have this kind of wines, I think they should pay attention to Central Asian countries as a market for them, for Nolo wines.
Yep, especially if the price, I'm talking from the EcoTrade side, if the price is okay.
Oh, yeah, true.
The biggest problem that you should obviously make a wine which is gonna cost something, and then dealcoholizing it, which is gonna cost you more than making the wine. Yes, we now growing in Kazakhstan, as I see the labels. For now, we have a few. Even now in our portfolio, we have a few new labels of non-alcoholic wines, and surprisingly, we actually made a mistake, because I was thinking that okay, I made a mistake when we made an order. We were thinking that the Sauvignon Blanc and the Sauvignon Blanc Sparkling in non-alcoholic will be a big thing, which is currently it is. We are very good in selling it, but we didn't pay attention of the Pinot Noir. We made the smallest amount of the order on it, and it's out of stock. It was out of stock like in less than a month. So that's my mistake, but it shows us that the non-alcoholic wines are popular and people drink it well.
Okay, and thank you a lot. It's a pity, but I must say that it's time for us to wrap it up. But before doing that, I've got three rapid fire questions for you. If you are ready, we can go with them. If you can answer them fast with a couple of sentences, that would be good.
Okay.
So the first question is, what's one key thing Italian wineries should keep in mind when entering Kazakh market?
To be honest with yourself and your key audience.
And also with your partners in the market,
Yeah.
right? Okay, thank you. Next question. If you could introduce one new wine trend or grape variety to Kazakhstan, what would it be and why?
Dry Lambrusca. 1000 times.
Okay. And I agree with you totally. And number three, the question that is not related to wine. So if you weren't working in wine, what other profession or industry could you see yourself in?
That's hard one. I would be a sport commentator. I love football, so I would go with that.
Okay, that's a nice one. All right. Raman, thank you again for your time and thank you for sharing all these valuable insights. I think that is going to be a very insightful conversation for Italian producers who I hope will be listening to this episode and make notes and pay attention to the names that you said, to everything that you said. And for our listeners, if they want to connect with you, what is the best way to do that?
The best way, it's actually just Instagram. It's Win the Roman. You can find it under the podcast that you're hearing right now. This is gonna be link on my Instagram, so you can always write a message, and then we will find a way to contact.
Okay, thank you a lot and see you in Almaty
Or Kostanay.
or Kostanay or Astana. Anywhere or Italy.
Hopefully. Thank you so much. Appreciate that you called me here. Big thank you for every Italian wine producer that do what you do and you love what you do. Thank you so much. We very appreciate it here and trying our best to sell your wines.
Okay, thank you again. Ciao.
Ciao.
Thanks for listening to Asia Wine Market Almaty Special Edition. Don't forget to subscribe and follow the Italian Wine Podcast wherever you get your pods. And if you are curious to discover more about the Central Asian wine scene, join us at the Venetli Kazakhstan Roadshow on July 7th. See you in the next episode. And until then, cheers from Almaty.